The air in the Transfiguration classroom thickened, heavy with the scent of ozone and the nervous energy of first-year Gryffindors and Ravenclaws. Kaelen Thorne, a thin boy with eyes too old for his face, gripped his wand, knuckles white, a tremor running through his arm that had nothing to do with fear of Professor McGonagall. It was the internal tremor, the insidious hum beneath his skin, the signature of the power he couldn't control. Now, Mr. Thorne, Professor McGonagall's voice, sharp and precise as a well-aimed cutting charm, cut through the tension. Her spectacles glinted under the flickering candelabra, fixing Kaelen with a gaze that seemed to peel back layers of reality. A simple matchstick, if you please. The incantation is Verdo. Transform it into a needle. Focus. Kaelen swallowed, the dryness in his throat mirroring the knot in his stomach. He focused, really tried to. He pictured the slender, gleaming needle, its eye tiny and perfect. He felt the familiar thrum within him, the other energy, rise to meet his intent. But it wasn't cooperating. It never did. The cosmic energy within him, usually a destructive force, felt rebellious and clumsy when he tried to channel it through a fragile piece of wood. Verdo. Kaelen enunciated, his voice a little too loud, a little too desperate. The matchstick on his desk didn't transform. Instead, it glowed with an unnerving, pulsating violet light, a miniature supernova in the making. A low, resonant hum filled the room, making the glass vials on the shelves rattle. Kaelen felt a sickening lurch as the energy surged, no longer focused on the matchstick, but expanding outwards from his own core. A collective gasp swept through the classroom. Desks scraped back as students instinctively recoiled. A Ravenclaw girl, Lena Abbott, whose desk was closest, flinched, her usually calm features etched with surprise and a hint of fear, but she didn't scream. Others weren't so restrained. Whispers erupted like agitated bees. Thorne's done it again. Watch out. What is that? The violet light intensified, crackling like static electricity, reaching outwards from Kaelen's body, not his wand. His eyes, usually a calm blue, now swirled with the same alarming color, reflecting the uncontrolled power. The air around him shimmered, distorting the shapes of the desks and the faces of his terrified classmates. He felt a burning sensation, not pain, but overwhelming power threatening to rip him apart. He was a vessel, and the contents were volatile. Kaelen, control yourself. McGonagall commanded, her voice cutting through the hum. But even her tone held an edge of something beyond mere frustration, a flicker of intense observation. She didn't raise her wand, not yet, but her stance became rigid, ready. I can't. Kaelen choked out, his voice strained. His hands flew to his temples, trying to contain the growing surge. It felt like trying to cap a volcano with his bare hands. The raw, untamed energy flared, tearing free. Crack. A blinding burst of violet light erupted from Kaelen. It wasn't an explosion, not exactly. It was more like a violent discharge, a contained supernova of pure energy that slammed against the opposite wall of the classroom. The ancient stone groaned. A large section of the wall blackened, smoking, and an impressive crater, roughly the size of a dinner plate, appeared where a medieval tapestry had been moments before. The tapestry itself was gone, vaporized. Silence. A stunned, ringing silence that magnified the frantic pounding of Kaelen's heart. He stood trembling, panting, the last tendrils of violet energy receding into his skin. His classmates stared, their faces pale, a mixture of awe and profound fear. Lena Abbott's eyes, however, held a peculiar glint of fascination mixed with concern. McGonagall walked towards the cratered wall, her strides purposeful, her expression unreadable. She ran a gloved finger over the smoking stone, then turned slowly to face Kaelen. The intensity of her gaze made him want to shrink into nothingness. Mr. Thorne, she said, her voice unusually quiet, but no less impactful. That was an unconventional manifestation of magical energy. Kaelen hunched his shoulders, shame burning hotter than any cosmic burst. I'm sorry, Professor. I didn't mean to. I tried to do the spell, but it just takes over. He gestured helplessly at himself. It always does. I don't know what's wrong with me. A few snickers rippled through the class, quickly silenced by a sharp glance from McGonagall. "The rest of you may be dismissed," she announced, her voice regaining its usual sternness. "Except for you, Miss Abbott. And you, Mr. Thorne. Wait for me." As the other students scrambled out, casting nervous backward glances at Kaelen, Lena remained, her curiosity outweighing her caution. She offered Kaelen a small, reassuring smile that did little to ease his turmoil. Once the door clicked shut, McGonagall transfigured a broken chair into a comfortable armchair and sat, watching Kaelen. "Sit, Mr. Thorne. Both of you." Kaelen and Lena hesitantly took seats opposite her. Kaelen fidgeted, his gaze fixed on the scorched wall. "Tell me, Kaelen," McGonagall began, her voice softer now, almost probing. "What exactly did you feel just now? Describe it." He hesitated. "It's like a hum, Professor. Always there under my skin. When I try to do wand magic, it fights me. It wants to come out its own way. And when I get scared or angry or even just really stressed, it just bursts." He gestured vaguely towards the crater. "It's like it's not mine. Like something else is living inside me." Lena interjected, her voice gentle. "It's like a different kind of energy, Professor. Not like a spell failing. More like pure force. I've seen him do it before, during charms. He accidentally levitated a whole table when he was just trying to do Wingardium Leviosa." McGonagall nodded, her eyes thoughtful. "Indeed. A raw, untamed power. I've observed you, Kaelen, since your arrival. Your difficulty with a wand is not due to lack of ability, but rather a profound incompatibility. Your internal energy field, shall we say, disrupts the delicate flow required for traditional spellcasting." She leaned forward, her gaze piercing. "Where does this energy come from, Kaelen?" He shrugged helplessly. "I don't know. I was found near a meteorite crash site when I was a baby. My aunt, my only living relative, always said I was different. She used to call it my star stuff. She told me to never tell anyone." He looked down at his hands, suddenly feeling the weight of his secret. "I always thought it was a curse." McGonagall remained silent for a long moment, processing his words. Then, she fixed him with an intense, unblinking stare. "A curse, Mr. Thorne? Or a gift misunderstood?" She rose, walking to the classroom window, gazing out at the darkening Hogwarts grounds. "Your power, Kaelen, is unlike anything I have ever witnessed in centuries of teaching. It is chaotic, yes, destructive, undeniably so. But it is also immense. Pure. Untouched by conventional magic." She turned back, her expression now resolute. "Most wizards channel magic. You, Kaelen, are power. And that, Mr. Thorne, is a fundamental difference we must address. Traditional wand magic is proving futile. If we continue down that path, you will only harm yourself and those around you." Kaelen's heart leaped. Hope, a fragile, foreign thing, flickered within him. "So, what do I do, Professor?" "You will be trained differently," McGonagall declared, her voice firm, leaving no room for argument. "Unconventionally. Not merely in transfiguration, though the discipline of that art will be crucial, but in discipline of a far greater magnitude. Mental fortitude. Self-control. The channeling of raw power, not through a wand, but through your own will." Her gaze hardened, becoming almost challenging. "This will not be easy, Kaelen. It will be harder than any lesson you've ever undertaken. It will demand more focus, more patience, and more perseverance than any of your peers will ever know. You will learn to command this star stuff, as your aunt called it, not let it command you. We will transform this erratic force into a controlled, integrated ability. Do you understand?" Kaelen stared at her, a profound mixture of fear and exhilaration swirling within him. This was it. This was the chance he'd been yearning for, a way out of the constant terror, a path to understanding. He thought of the terror in his classmates' eyes, the crater in the wall, the constant hum of alien energy within him. He thought of the potential to be a danger to everyone he cared about. He looked at Lena, who nodded subtly, a silent encouragement. "Yes, Professor," Kaelen said, his voice stronger than he expected. "I understand. I want to learn. I want to control it. McGonagall's lips twitched almost imperceptibly, a hint of satisfaction. Good. Miss Abbott, your astute observations have been noted. You may assist Kaelen in documenting his experiences and researching any unusual magical phenomena related to energy absorption or projection. But the core training, Mr. Thorne, will be between you and me. Every evening after dinner, you will report to my office. We begin tomorrow. She paused, her eyes narrowing slightly. Be warned, Kaelen. What you possess is not simply unique, it is extraordinary. And extraordinary power, untamed, draws extraordinary attention. The wizarding world may not be ready for a force such as yours, and there are those who would seek to exploit it. A shiver ran down Kaelen's spine. He had always felt alone with his power, a burden. Now, suddenly, he was seeing it through McGonagall's eyes, as something ancient, vast, and potentially dangerous, not just to himself, but to others. He knew then that his journey was only just beginning, a perilous path into the heart of his own cosmic mystery. He had survived the burst, but the real test, the true transformation, was yet to come. The first step was taken. Tomorrow, his real education would begin. The silence of the Transfiguration classroom, usually broken by the sharp crack of a failed spell or McGonagall's crisp instructions, had taken on a new, almost sacred quality. For Kaelen, these after-class sessions with Professor McGonagall were a crucible. Dust motes danced in the late afternoon sunbeams slanting through the high windows, illuminating the grim determination etched onto his young face. Again, Mr. Thorne, McGonagall's voice, though firm, lacked its usual bite. She stood by a polished desk, her spectacles perched on her nose, watching Kaelen with an intensity that made his palms sweat. Before him, a small, obsidian pebble rested on a velvet cloth. His task, to transfigure it into a matchstick. Simple for most first years, but for Kaelen, it was a battle against himself. He raised his wand, a standard 11-inch oak, feeling its familiar weight. But the moment his concentration deepened, a strange hum began to thrum beneath his skin, radiating from his chest. It wasn't the warmth of magic, it was something colder, more vast, like the vacuum of space itself. This was the cosmic energy, his unique curse, threatening to overwhelm the delicate art of transfiguration. Remember, Kaelen, McGonagall's voice cut through the internal clamor. Control is not suppression. It is direction. Feel the pebble. Understand its essence. Then, guide the energy within you, shape it, just as you would shape the air with your wand. Kaelen squeezed his eyes shut for a moment, trying to recall her earlier lessons. Discipline. Precision. Focus. He took a deep breath, picturing the pebble, then the slim, wooden form of a matchstick. He tried to think of his cosmic energy not as a volatile explosion, but as raw clay, awaiting his sculptor's touch. He pointed his wand. Mutatio forma, he whispered, focusing every fiber of his being. For a terrifying second, nothing happened. Then, the obsidian pebble didn't just transform, it imploded. A miniature, soundless burst of starlight erupted from its place, momentarily blinding Kaelen before it dissipated into thin air, leaving only a faint scent of ozone. His wand, still pointed, trembled in his hand. Merlin's beard, he gasped, recoiling, his heart pounding against his ribs. The familiar shame, the crushing guilt, washed over him. I destroyed it. I can't do it, Professor. It's too strong. McGonagall walked over, her expression unreadable. She picked up a faint dusting of sparkling residue from the velvet cloth. On the contrary, Mr. Thorne, you did do it. You applied an immense amount of energy. The problem was not the power, but the finesse. It was a sledgehammer when you needed a scalpel. She fixed him with a piercing gaze. Your power is not inherently destructive, Kaelen. It is simply untamed. Wild. Like a magnificent hippogriff that has yet to accept a rider. She paused, then continued, her voice softening just imperceptibly. We are not trying to change who you are, Kaelen. We are teaching you to be the master of who you are. To integrate the raw strength of your otherness with the learned discipline of magic. Think of transfiguration as the bridge. Over the next few weeks, McGonagall pushed Kaelen relentlessly. They moved from pebbles to feathers, from feathers to quills, then to more complex objects. Each session was a grueling exercise in mental fortitude. She made him practice wandless concentration exercises, focusing his energy internally, learning to expand and contract it without external manifestation. He spent hours meditating on the feeling of the cosmic hum, trying to differentiate its nuances, like a musician learning the subtle differences between chords. Slowly, painstakingly, Kaelen began to see progress. The destructive bursts became less frequent, replaced by controlled flares, then subtle pulses. He learned to feel the precise moment his cosmic energy threatened to override the transfiguration, and in those split seconds, he would consciously pull back, channel, redirect. It was like steering a runaway train with his mind. One blustery October afternoon, as rain lashed against the classroom windows, Kaelen was attempting to transfigure a small ceramic teacup into a glass goblet. He focused, his breath coming in shallow gasps. The cosmic energy within him felt like a dormant volcano, rumbling but not erupting. He poured his will into the cup, envisioning the goblet's delicate curves. A strange warmth spread through his chest, different from the usual cold hum. It felt resonant. As the teacup began to ripple and shimmer, distorting its ceramic form, Kaelen felt a powerful surge. It wasn't uncontrolled, not entirely. It was a connection. Suddenly, the classroom dissolved. Kaelen wasn't standing before McGonagall anymore. He was falling or floating through an impossibly vast expanse of swirling nebulae and incandescent stardust. Distant, gargantuan forms, like cities of light, clashed amidst celestial fire. He saw flashes of what looked like ethereal, winged beings, their forms made of pure energy, locked in a silent, agonizing conflict. There was a profound sense of loss, a chilling echo of devastation that resonated deep within his bones. A particular image seared itself into his mind, a brilliant, sapphire blue comet, bleeding starlight, hurtling towards a verdant, shimmering world. It was terrifying, yet undeniably familiar, as if he'd witnessed it before, or was somehow part of it. The overwhelming feeling was of desperate flight, of being cast adrift from something immense and vital. Then, just as quickly as it began, the vision snapped shut. Kaelen gasped, stumbling back, knocking over his chair. He was back in the Transfiguration classroom, the ceramic teacup now a perfectly formed, if slightly glowing, glass goblet. The rain still hammered outside. McGonagall was staring at him, her expression a mix of concern and profound intrigue. "Kaelen, are you quite all right?" she asked, her wand held loosely, ready for anything. He clutched his head, his mind reeling. The phantom echoes of cosmic warfare pulsed behind his eyes. I saw something, Professor. Not a memory, not exactly. More like a dream, but I was awake. Stars, battles, lights, and something blue falling. It felt so real. McGonagall walked towards him, her gaze penetrating. She picked up the goblet, observing its faint, internal shimmer. "Your control has taken a remarkable leap, Kaelen. This is excellent work. But these visions..." Describe them. He recounted what he'd seen, the vastness, the ethereal beings, the sense of ancient conflict. As he spoke, a strange sense of rightness settled over him, despite the terror. This wasn't just a mysterious power, it was a legacy. McGonagall listened intently, her brow furrowed. "I suspected as much," she murmured, more to herself than to him. "The legends speak of powers beyond our current understanding, energies that predate even the oldest forms of magic on Earth. You, Kaelen, might be a bridge to them." She tapped the goblet with her wand. This blue comet, a similar description appears in some of the oldest, most obscure astrological texts. They speak of a star child or an ether seed arriving on a comet, bringing with it energies that could either forge new worlds or shatter them. Kaelen felt a cold dread mixed with a flicker of hope. A star child. A theory, Kaelen. An audacious one, perhaps. But your abilities defy all known magical categorization. And these visions, occurring precisely at the moment you achieve a deeper connection with your unique energy, it is too coincidental. She paused, her eyes glinting. We are dealing with something far grander and potentially far more perilous than mere accidental magic, Kaelen. You are not just learning to control a power, you are learning to understand your heritage. He looked down at the goblet, still faintly glowing. He had made it. He had controlled it. But the visions, they were no longer just random bursts of imagery. They were becoming clearer, more coherent, each glimpse a shard of a shattered cosmic truth. He felt a burgeoning sense of destiny, terrifying and exhilarating all at once. As the days turned into weeks, Kaelen's control solidified. He could now, with conscious effort, perform simple transfigurations using a blend of wand magic and controlled cosmic energy, infusing the object with a faint, ephemeral shimmer. He was even starting to feel the cosmic hum inside him not as a threat, but as an extension, a part of himself. His visions continued, growing in intensity. He saw more of the vast, alien battlefields, heard whispers of names that tasted like starlight and ancient grief. He began to understand that his energy wasn't just his, it was a conduit, a connection to something ancient and far-reaching. The destructive surges hadn't been uncontrolled explosions, but echoes of a greater cosmic force struggling to manifest through him. He was a beacon, whether he wanted to be or not. One evening, as he sat in the Gryffindor common room, attempting to subtly levitate a feather with a whisper of cosmic power, a shiver ran down his spine. It wasn't a vision this time, but a distinct feeling. A distant echo, a faint, almost imperceptible hum that wasn't his own. It was a resonance, like a tuning fork vibrating somewhere far away, yet striking a chord deep within him. It felt ancient, powerful. And suddenly, undeniably, his cosmic energy flared slightly, almost in response. He looked around the common room. No one else seemed to notice. But Kaelen knew. Something out there, something within Hogwarts itself, was stirring. And it was calling to him. A dark, exhilarating premonition settled over him, hinting that his journey of self-discovery was about to become infinitely more perilous. The hum wasn't just a call, it was a warning. The scent of old parchment and lemon polish hung heavy in the air of the Hogwarts library's restricted section. Kaelen Thorne, hunched over a tome titled Obscure Astronomical Charms and Their Misapplications, felt the familiar thrum beneath his skin. It was a low, constant vibration, like a distant celestial engine that had become his unwanted companion. McGonagall's lessons had drilled into him the absolute necessity of control. Channel it, Kaelen. Don't fight it. Guide it. The words were etched into his mind, and he could now manage short, precise bursts of energy, enough to fix a broken quill with a focused pulse, or gently levitate a heavy book without shattering the shelves. But the fear remained. Anything interesting, Kaelen? Lena Abbott's voice was a soft counterpoint to the quiet rustle of pages. She sat opposite him, her brow furrowed in concentration over a diagram of a particularly complex rune sequence. A small, self-inking quill hovered obediently by her notes. Kaelen sighed, pushing a hand through his perpetually messy hair. Just more dead ends. This book talks about drawing power from constellations, but it's all wand-based. Nothing about this. He gestured vaguely at his chest, where the hum vibrated most strongly. It feels like McGonagall's trying to fit a supernova into a teacup. Lena offered a sympathetic smile. She wouldn't if she didn't think you could do it. Maybe the answer isn't in drawing power, but in releasing it differently. Like a controlled explosion, not a wildfire. She tapped her own book. Some of these ancient runes are about harmonizing disparate energies. Perhaps your internal stellar furnace needs a different kind of conduit. They continued in comfortable silence for a while, the only sounds the turning of pages and the occasional scratch of a quill. Kaelen found himself drawn to a dusty, forgotten alcove tucked behind a towering shelf of ancient magical histories. It looked untouched for decades, shrouded in shadow. A faint, almost imperceptible warmth emanated from its depths, a sensation Kaelen felt uniquely. Curiosity, a dangerous instinct he was rapidly cultivating, pulled him in. He ran a hand along the rough, cold stone wall until his fingers brushed against something smooth and metallic. Hidden in a shallow recess, almost fused with the stone, was a small, ornate pedestal. Upon it rested an object unlike anything he'd ever seen. It was a shard, jagged and irregular, about the size of his fist. Its surface was a mesmerizing obsidian black, but threaded through it were intricate veins of a pulsating, iridescent silver. It wasn't quite metal, not quite stone, and it seemed to absorb the ambient light, yet somehow glowed with an internal, soft luminescence. It felt ancient, impossibly old, and utterly alien. As Kaelen reached out, a familiar tremor intensified within him. The shard pulsed in response, its silver veins flaring with a soft, ethereal light. It felt hungry. Or perhaps it was simply resonating. His own cosmic energy surged, not uncontrollably, but with a powerful, instinctive yearning towards the object. It was like two long-lost pieces of a puzzle finally sensing each other. "Kaelen? Are you all right?" Lena's voice, sharp with concern, broke through his trance. She had followed him, sensing his sudden focus. Before he could answer, a violent jolt ripped through him. The shard flared, its internal light exploding into a dazzling, blinding brilliance. It vibrated with an ear-splitting hum that seemed to shake the very foundations of the library. Kaelen cried out, a raw, involuntary sound, as his own power mirrored the artifact's outburst. A wave of pure, untamed energy burst from his chest, a brilliant azure light that clashed violently with the artifact's silver-white glow. Books on the surrounding shelves shot outwards, pages tearing, covers cracking. The lights in the restricted section flickered wildly, the magically preserved air growing heavy and charged. Dust motes danced frantically in the maelstrom of light and sound. "Control." McGonagall's stern voice echoed in his mind. Kaelen clenched his fists, forcing himself to breathe, to focus on the sensation of the energy, not the fear it brought. He pushed against the tide, trying to channel the wild force back inward, to contain the escalating cosmic feedback loop. Sweat beaded on his forehead. The power felt both exhilarating and terrifying, a part of him yet utterly foreign. The shard shrieked, a sound that grated on Kaelen's very bones, and a phantom image flashed behind his eyes. Vast, star-strewn battlefields, ships of impossible design tearing through the void, explosions of unimaginable scale, and a blinding light. Just like the one he was now seeing and feeling, ripping apart the very fabric of space. He saw a flash of fear, then resolve, in an unknown face before the vision shattered, leaving him gasping. With a final, desperate surge of will, Kaelen managed to twist the cosmic torrent, directing it upwards. The azure blast slammed into the ceiling, causing a loud crack, but dissipating before it could cause widespread structural damage. The shard's furious humming slowly subsided, its blinding light dimming back to a gentle pulse. The library lights steadied, though the air still crackled with residual energy. Lena, who had instinctively shielded her face with her arms, lowered them slowly, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and fear. Books lay strewn across the floor, dust motes still descending like slow-motion snow. "Kaelen, what was that?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. "And that object. It was like it called to you." Kaelen leaned against the stone wall, chest heaving, his body trembling from the exertion. He stared at the shimmering obsidian shard, now quiescent once more. "I don't know," he admitted, his voice hoarse. "But it's connected. It felt like part of the vision I keep having." Miles away, cloaked in the gloom of a dilapidated, forgotten manor on the edge of the forbidden forest, Silas Vane felt it. A tremor in the arcane, a disturbance not of magical wards or ancient ley lines, but something far more primal, more raw. He paused, his pale, slender fingers hovering over a complex runic circle drawn on the dusty floorboards, his eyes, like chipped jade, narrowing in concentration. His old, forgotten texts, scrawled with his own frantic notations, spoke of such energies. Power from beyond the veil, from the void between worlds. Legends dismissed by the ministry, scoffed at by mainstream wizards. But Silas Vane knew better. He had spent his exiled years delving into the forbidden, searching for the ultimate power, the leverage to reshape a world that had cast him aside. The surge he just felt was unmistakable. A signature he recognized from dusty scrolls detailing cosmic cataclysms and the remnants of interstellar wars, energy not born of magic, but of the stars themselves. Untamed, volatile, and infinitely potent. It pulsed with a resonance that vibrated through the very bedrock of the castle, a frequency he had only ever read about in encrypted alien ciphers he'd painstakingly translated. "So, it is here," Vane murmured, his voice a dry rasp, more accustomed to silence than speech. A slow, chilling smile spread across his gaunt face, illuminating the sharp angles of his cheekbones. His eyes, usually cold and calculating, now gleamed with a predatory excitement. The Star Child, as the old prophecy named it. A vessel of such immense power, walking among mewling wizards, blind to its true potential. He had heard whispers, of course. A Gryffindor first year, an orphan, showing strange, uncontrolled magical bursts. A destructive talent that confounded even the esteemed Minerva McGonagall. He had dismissed them as mere anecdotal reports of a powerful, untrained wizard. But this burst of pure cosmic energy, reacting violently with an ancient relic hidden within Hogwarts itself, was no mere magical outburst. It was the awakening. Vane chuckled, a sound like dry leaves skittering across stone. They thought it a legend. A cautionary tale of ancient horrors. They were fools. He pushed himself to his feet, a dark cloak swirling around his skeletal frame. This boy, this Kaelen Thorne, is no wizard. He is a conduit. A key. He walked towards a grimy window, gazing towards the distant, illuminated spires of Hogwarts. The school, a fortress of conventional magic, now harbored a secret power far greater than any it had ever contained. And Vane would claim it. The cosmic energy, he whispered, a mad glint in his eyes. The power to control not just magic, but the very fabric of existence. The key to dominion over both worlds. He raised a hand, his long fingers twitching as if already grasping at the immense power. This is the power I have sought, and it is now within my grasp. Silas Vane, disgraced wizard, master of forgotten lore, turned from the window. The hunt had begun. He would simply need to acquire his new prize, and Hogwarts, along with Kaelen Thorne, would become his stepping stone to ultimate power. The air in the abandoned Transfiguration classroom still hummed faintly with residual energy from the artifact, a ghostly vibration only Kaelen seemed to perceive. He had spent the afternoon there, McGonagall guiding him, pushing him to extend the shimmering barrier of cosmic energy beyond himself, to protect a delicate glass orb from his own power. He had managed it, a thin, iridescent shield that pulsed with controlled might. The triumph was exhilarating, a warm glow of achievement that temporarily overshadowed the cold dread of the artifact's violent reaction. Yet, as evening descended and the castle settled into its creaking, whispering rhythm, Kaelen couldn't shake the unease. The artifact had reacted to him, to his power, and McGonagall had been tight-lipped, her brows furrowed with a concern that was more profound than simple academic curiosity. He wandered the quieter corridors, his mind replaying the metallic groan and shudder of the ancient stone, the sudden surge of raw energy that had nearly overwhelmed him. He'd learned to contain his power, but the artifact had felt like a magnet pulling at a deeper wellspring, something he hadn't yet touched. The castle felt different now, more watchful, or perhaps it was Kaelen who had become more aware. Every shadow seemed deeper, every distant echo more significant. He was heading back to Gryffindor Tower, the common room a distant promise of warmth and familiarity, when a sudden drop in temperature made him pause. The torchlight flickered, struggling against an unseen force, casting elongated, dancing shadows that stretched and twisted like hungry specters. Such raw potential. A voice slithered from the darkness, low and resonant, carrying an edge of hungry anticipation. A pity it is wasted on a child. Kaelen spun around, his hand instinctively going for his wand, though he knew its limitations against his own volatile power. Emerging from the deepest recess of alcove, cloaked in robes the color of midnight, was a man with eyes like chips of obsidian. His face was sharp, predatory, etched with an almost frantic intensity. Silas Vane. The name McGonagall had spoken with such contempt, the man she'd warned him about. "Who are you?" Kaelen demanded, trying to project a bravery he didn't quite feel. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the sudden cold. The air thickened around him, pressing down like an invisible weight. Vane chuckled, a dry, rasping sound. "A question for another time, boy. For now, you need only know that I am here to relieve you of your burden." He held out a hand, and from his palm, not a spell of light or fire, but tendrils of inky shadow snaked forth. They writhed, coalescing into spectral claws that lunged towards Kaelen, radiating an unnatural chill. Kaelen gasped, stumbling back. He felt it instantly, a cold, invasive drain. It wasn't just the magic trying to hit him, it was reaching for the very core of his being, the cosmic energy that pulsed beneath his skin. His breath caught in his throat, and for a terrifying moment, the familiar surge of uncontrolled power threatened to erupt, a desperate, destructive self-defense mechanism. Panic seized him, his vision blurring at the edges. "Control, Kaelen. Discipline. Focus." McGonagall's stern voice echoed in his mind, sharp and unwavering. Not emotion. Intention. He squeezed his eyes shut for a fraction of a second, fighting the internal scream of energy. He pictured the Transfiguration classroom, the shimmering barrier around the glass orb. He remembered the feeling of channeling, not simply exploding. The key was intention, not reaction. "Protego!" Kaelen yelled, his voice cracking, but his wand snapped up. It was a basic shielding charm, one he'd practiced countless times. But as the words left his lips, he willed the cosmic energy, not to burst outwards, but to integrate with the charm. He didn't just cast a shield, he infused it. A shimmering, iridescent barrier, not quite opaque, not quite translucent, erupted from his wand. It wasn't the usual faint blue of a Protego charm. It pulsed with the familiar, otherworldly glow of his unique energy, a vibrant nebula contained within the magical construct. The shadowy tendrils of Vane's magic slammed into it, and for a moment, the two forces wrestled, sparks of cosmic light flickering against the devouring darkness. The drain intensified, but it was being deflected, absorbed by the shield rather than reaching Kaelen directly. Vane's eyes widened, a flicker of surprise breaking through his predatory focus. "Impossible. Such control at your age. Who taught you this, abomination?" His voice was laced with a new, colder fury. Kaelen felt the strain, the shield shaking violently. The raw power of Vane's siphoning magic was immense, relentless. He couldn't hold it forever. He needed to move, to create an opening. He remembered McGonagall's lessons on transfiguration, the precision needed to reshape. While he wasn't transfiguring, the principle of directed energy, of a specific, intentional outcome, applied. He didn't need to defeat Vane. He needed to escape. With a grunt, Kaelen focused, not just on maintaining the shield, but on pushing back. He gathered the cosmic energy, channeling it, shaping it. He saw the path, not just a chaotic explosion. His Gryffindor courage flared, ignited by desperation. "You won't take it." Kaelen snarled, pushing his shield forward with all his might. The iridescent barrier pulsed, not with an uncontrolled burst, but a focused expansion, like a contained supernova. The force of it caught Vane off guard. The shadowy tendrils shattered against the surge of controlled cosmic power, dissolving into wisps of nothingness. Vane was thrown backward, stumbling against the wall, a shocked gasp escaping his lips. His cloak billowed, and for a fleeting instant, Kaelen saw a glimpse of an ancient, tarnished silver amulet around Vane's neck, pulsing faintly with a dark, hungry light. It was feeding Vane's magic. That momentary distraction was all Kaelen needed. Before Vane could recover, Kaelen whirled around, not bothering with a spell. He tapped into his flight ability, a sensation that was becoming less terrifying and more intuitive. With a burst of focused cosmic energy, he propelled himself down the corridor, a streak of shimmering light that was gone before Vane could retaliate. He didn't stop until his lungs burned and his legs ached, skidding to a halt outside the portrait of the fat lady. "Mimbulus Mimbletonia," he gasped, the password barely forming on his lips. He stumbled into the common room, which was mostly empty save for a few older students huddled by the fire. He didn't pause, scrambling up the boys' dormitory stairs, needing to be alone, needing to process. He burst into his room, collapsing onto his bed, heart still hammering. He was shaking, adrenaline coursing through his veins. But amidst the fear, a new feeling bloomed, a fierce, defiant pride. He hadn't just reacted, he had acted. He had used his power, not as a destructive force, but as a controlled weapon, a shield. McGonagall's teachings had worked. He had faced down Silas Vane and survived, not through luck, but through discipline. His hands, still trembling, came together and a faint, controlled flicker of cosmic energy danced between them, a tiny, contained nebula in miniature. He looked at it, no longer with dread, but with a newfound awe and fierce determination. Vane wanted his power. He sought to siphon it, to corrupt it. That meant this energy, his true heritage, was not just a curse, but a profound, valuable force. Kaelen lay there, staring at the faint, shimmering light, the weight of the encounter settling over him. Silas Vane knew about him. Vane had tasted his power, and now he would undoubtedly pursue him with even greater intensity. Hogwarts was no longer just a school, it was a battleground, and Kaelen was at the center of it. He clenched his jaw. He wouldn't let Vane win. He would master this power. He would become the protector McGonagall believed he could be. But first, he needed to tell McGonagall everything. And then, he needed to learn. He needed to understand the artifact, Vane's amulet, and the true extent of this cosmic power that coursed through his veins. The game had changed. And Kaelen, the anxious boy, had just become a warrior. The ancient chamber, long forgotten beneath the dungeons of Hogwarts, hummed with a tension thick enough to choke. Dust motes danced in the slivers of moonlight piercing through a high, grimy grate, illuminating a scene of grim confrontation. At its heart, a shimmering obelisk of unknown, dark metal pulsed with an inner light, its alien symbols twisting and churning like a trapped nebula. Kaelen Thorne stood before it, his Gryffindor robes a stark contrast to the oppressive gloom, his hand gripping his wand, though he knew his true power lay far beyond its humble wood. Opposite him, Silas Vane, his eyes burning with a mad glint of obsession, smirked, a cruel mockery of a smile. His worn robes barely concealed the hunger for power that radiated from him like a physical force. "So, the little star-child returns," Vane sneered, his voice raspy. "Foolish. You think a few lessons from the old Transfiguration hag can tame a storm? This power, it wasn't meant for human hands, boy. It was meant to be taken." Vane raised his wand, and the air crackled. Dark tendrils of shadow snaked from its tip, coalescing into a swirling vortex of corrosive energy. "Siphon," he roared, thrusting his wand forward. The dark vortex shot towards Kaelen, aiming not to strike, but to tear at the very fabric of his being, to drain the cosmic energy that pulsed beneath his skin. Kaelen didn't flinch. McGonagall's stern face, her voice echoing in his mind, "Discipline, Thorne. Control is not the absence of power, but its true manifestation." He wouldn't unleash a wild, destructive blast. He would channel. He would focus. Transfiguro. Kaelen incanted, his wand snapping upwards. From the damp stone floor, a massive section of rock warped and twisted, forming a rough, jagged shield, infused with a faint, shimmering cosmic aura. The dark vortex slammed into it, hissing and gnawing, but the stone held, vibrating with a deep hum as Kaelen poured his unique energy into its form. The cosmic infusion strengthened the stone, making it resistant to Vane's corrosive magic. Vane's eyes widened slightly. "Impressive, for a child playing with fire," he snarled. "But raw power cares little for your flimsy shields." He waved his wand again, and spectral figures, skeletal and wailing, clawed their way from the shadows, shrieking as they lunged for Kaelen, their ethereal forms phasing through the magically reinforced rock. This was different. Kaelen felt a cold dread, but he pushed it down. Panic is the enemy of control. He took a deep breath, focusing on the cosmic energy swirling within him. It was no longer a frantic, unpredictable storm. It was a deep, silent ocean, vast and waiting. He extended his left hand, and without a wand, a focused wave of pure, azure light burst forth. It wasn't an explosion, but a coherent wave, like a force field pushing outwards. The spectral figures shrieked, their forms flickering and disintegrating as the alien energy, antithetical to their dark magic, tore them apart. The force pushed Vane back a step, surprising him. "You're not just siphoning, are you?" Kaelen's voice, though young, carried a new, resonant firmness. "You want to corrupt it, bend it to your own will." He remembered the visions, the echoes of a cosmic conflict. This power wasn't meant for destruction, not solely. "And I will," Vane shrieked, his face contorting. "Imagine the raw power of creation and destruction, wielded by a true sorcerer. I will remake this world in my image." He aimed his wand at the obelisk. "Now, let's see how you fare when your precious connection is severed." A sickly green beam shot from Vane's wand, striking the artifact. The obelisk groaned, its inner light flickering violently, and Kaelen felt a sharp, sympathetic pang, a searing phantom pain that threatened to destabilize him. The room vibrated, dust raining down from the ceiling. "No," Kaelen roared, his resolve hardening. This wasn't just about him anymore. This was about protecting something ancient, something that resonated with his very essence. He pushed through the pain, focusing his connection to the artifact, seeing not just a relic, but a beacon, a whisper from the stars. He moved, not with a simple run, but with a blur of speed, a shimmering trail of starlight following his form. Vane, caught off guard by Kaelen's sudden agility, barely managed to deflect Kaelen's shoulder charge. Kaelen used the momentum, twisting in the air, his right hand still clutching his wand. "Protego Maxima," Kaelen chanted, but as the familiar shield charm sprang forth, he poured his cosmic energy into it. The shimmering, translucent barrier erupted into a dome of pulsating indigo and silver light, reflecting the colors of the obelisk. It was no longer a mere shield. It was a cosmic shell, crackling with raw power. Vane slammed a crushing curse against it, but the dome held firm, shimmering. "Impossible," Vane shrieked, his voice laced with desperation. He could feel the power radiating from Kaelen's shield, a purity that actively repelled his dark magic. Kaelen didn't just defend. He integrated. While maintaining the cosmic shield with his left hand, he pointed his wand at a nearby crumbling pillar with his right. "Transfiguro totalis," he bellowed. The pillar didn't just turn into a harmless bird or a teapot. It fragmented into a dozen razor-sharp shards, each one momentarily suspended in the air, glowing with a faint, internal starlight. "Cosmic Volley," Kaelen commanded, a new spell, born of instinct and McGonagall's lessons in imaginative application. He infused each shard with a focused pulse of cosmic energy, then sent them hurtling towards Vane, not as mundane projectiles, but as miniature meteors, crackling with destructive potential. Vane cried out, throwing up a hurried shield of his own, but the shards, imbued with alien kinetic force, struck with devastating power. His dark shield fractured and splintered, and Vane himself was thrown backward, crashing against a distant wall, groaning in pain. His wand skittered across the floor, out of reach. Kaelen let the cosmic shield around him dissipate, his chest heaving, but a strange exhilaration coursed through him. He felt exhausted, but not drained. He felt powerful, controlled, balanced. Vane struggled to stand, clutching his side. His eyes, though still burning with fury, now held a flicker of fear. You combine it," he wheezed, gazing at the still pulsing obelisk. "You are an abomination. A monster that marries the arcane with the unknown." "I am Kaelen Thorne," he stated, his voice ringing with newfound authority. "And I am both." He took a step forward, his Gryffindor robes rippling with an unseen energy, the air around him shimmering with faint starlight. This power isn't meant to destroy Vane. It's meant to protect. He closed his eyes for a moment, sensing the obelisk, sensing the vastness beyond. He felt the ancient conflicts, the echoes of a distant war, but also a profound sense of connection, of purpose. McGonagall had taught him that magic was about intent, about the will to shape reality. His cosmic energy, he now understood, was the raw, untamed fuel for that will. He was a bridge, an anchor, between two worlds. Opening his eyes, they glowed with a soft, internal light, like twin supernovae. He lifted his wand, but this time, he didn't channel the energy through it in a burst. He let it surround the wand, forming a swirling helix of pure, concentrated starlight, coalescing at the tip. "This is for Hogwarts," Kaelen declared. "This is for every life you'd endanger." He channeled everything, his fear, his anger, his determination, but most importantly, his control. He focused the cosmic energy, not into a destructive blast, but into a precise, targeted wave of incapacitation. Aetherborn confinement. A brilliant, concentrated beam of iridescent light, swirling with the colors of a distant nebula, shot from his wand. It wasn't a destructive force, but a binding one. It struck Vane, wrapping around him like shimmering chains, solidifying into a crystalline cocoon that radiated gentle, yet absolute, power. Vane struggled, his muffled curses echoing within the confinement, but the cosmic energy held him fast, rendering him utterly powerless, trapped but unharmed. Kaelen stood, breathing heavily, the starlight fading from his eyes. He had done it. He hadn't just fought Vane. He had defeated him using his own power, harnessed and controlled, integrated with the magic of Hogwarts. The room was silent save for Vane's muffled struggles. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the chamber entrance. Lena Abbott, her Ravenclaw scarf a splash of blue, rushed in, her eyes wide with a mix of fear and awe. Behind her, Professor McGonagall appeared, her expression unreadable at first, then softening into a hint of pride as she surveyed the scene, Vane encased in shimmering starlight, the quiet power emanating from Kaelen. Lena gasped, looking from Vane to Kaelen. "Kaelen, you did it. You actually did it." Kaelen nodded, a tired but triumphant smile gracing his lips. He looked at the ancient obelisk, no longer a source of terror, but a part of his story. He was still Kaelen Thorne, the Gryffindor, but something more now. He felt the whisper of the stars, the strength of magic, intertwined within him. He was the Aetherborn, and Hogwarts was his to protect. As McGonagall began to levitate the encapsulated Vane towards the exit, her eyes met Kaelen's, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. He felt a sense of belonging deeper than he had ever known. But as he glanced back at the pulsating obelisk, a new vision flickered in his mind's eye, not of ancient battles, but of distant galaxies, of something stirring at the edge of the known universe, something that had awoken with his power. Vane was defeated, but the universe, it seemed, was only just beginning to take notice. Kaelen knew his journey had just truly begun, and the secrets of the stars were calling.